Chapter 1: Young Diana. Diana Spencer was born in England in 1961. She was a happy baby, always giggling and smiling. Her parents, John and Frances Spencer, were very proud of their little girl. One day, when Diana was just 6 years old, she overheard her parents talking about how her big brother, Charles, would one day become the King of England. Diana didn't quite understand what it meant to be a king, but she knew it must be very important. "Daddy, what does it mean to be a king?" Diana asked. "Well, sweetheart," her father explained, "a king is someone who rules a country. It's a big responsibility." Diana thought for a moment. "I want to be a queen," she declared. Her parents laughed. "Why do you want to be a queen?" her mother asked. "Because queens get to wear pretty dresses and live in castles," Diana replied, with a big smile. As Diana grew up, she became more and more interested in fashion and style. She loved trying on her mother's clothes and experimenting with different hairstyles. She was a creative and artistic girl who loved to draw and paint. But despite her love for all things pretty, Diana was also a rebel at heart. She didn't like following rules or doing things the way everyone else did. She often did things her own way, even if it meant getting into trouble. One day, when she was in school, Diana's teacher asked the class to draw a picture of a flower. But Diana didn't want to draw a flower like everyone else. She wanted to draw a tree. "Miss, can I draw a tree instead?" she asked. Her teacher looked at her skeptically. "Diana, we're drawing flowers today. You need to follow the instructions." But Diana was determined. She picked up her green crayon and started drawing a tree with lots of branches and leaves. Her classmates giggled and whispered to each other, but Diana didn't care. She was having fun and expressing herself in her own unique way. When her teacher saw the finished drawing, she was surprised. "Wow, Diana, you really are a rebel," she said with a smile. Diana grinned proudly. She knew that being a rebel was just part of who she was. And little did she know that her rebellious spirit would one day help her change the world. Chapter 2: A Royal Wedding. As Diana grew up, she became more and more interested in fashion and style. She loved looking at magazines and dreaming of wearing beautiful gowns and sparkling jewelry. When she was just 19 years old, Diana met Prince Charles, the future King of England. He was 13 years older than her and already a very important person in the country. Diana was nervous to meet him, but also excited. They went on a few dates and Charles quickly fell in love with Diana's sweet personality and natural beauty. Before long, he knew that he wanted to marry her and make her his princess. Diana was thrilled when Charles proposed to her. She was going to be a princess and live in a real castle. But as the wedding approached, she started to feel nervous. She knew that millions of people would be watching her on TV and taking pictures of her. One day, she confided in her sister Jane. "I don't know if I can do this," she said. "What if I make a mistake? What if I fall down or forget my lines?" Jane hugged her sister. "You'll be fine, Di," she said. "Just remember to be yourself and have fun." On July 29, 1981, Diana and Charles got married in a big fancy ceremony at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Diana wore a beautiful wedding dress with a long train and a big veil. She looked like a real-life princess. As she walked down the aisle, Diana could feel the eyes of the world on her. She was nervous, but also excited. This was the moment she had been waiting for her whole life. When she reached Charles, he took her hand and smiled at her. "You look beautiful," he whispered. Diana smiled back at him. She felt a surge of love and happiness. In her heart, she was marrying the man of her dreams and becoming a princess. It was a fairy tale come true. After the ceremony, Diana and Charles went on a big parade through the streets of London. Millions of people came out to see them and wave at the new princess. Diana was overwhelmed by the love and support of the crowd. As she rode in the carriage with her new husband, she looked out at the sea of faces and felt a sense of responsibility. She was not just a princess, but a symbol of hope and unity for her country and the world. And she was ready to use her position to make a difference. Chapter 3. A New Role. After her wedding, Diana became known as the Princess of Wales. She moved into a big palace called Kensington Palace and started getting used to her new life as a member of the royal family. At first, Diana felt a little bit lonely in her new role. She missed her family and friends, and she wasn't sure what she was supposed to do all day. But she quickly realized that being a princess was a full-time job. She had to attend meetings, go to charity events, and visit schools and hospitals. She also had to represent the royal family at big events and meet important people from all over the world. Diana was a natural at this work. She had a kind heart and a warm personality, and people loved her. She also had a great sense of style and was always wearing beautiful clothes and jewelry. One day, Diana got a phone call from her friend, Elton John. "Diana, I'm doing a big concert for charity," he said. "Would you like to come and say a few words?" Diana was thrilled at the idea. She had always loved music and thought it would be fun to be part of a big concert. When she arrived at the concert, she was surprised to see how many people were there. There were thousands of fans screaming and waving their hands. She felt a bit nervous, but also excited. Elton introduced her to the crowd, and she stepped up to the microphone. "Hello, she said. "I'm so happy to be here tonight. Thank you for supporting this amazing charity." The crowd cheered, and Diana felt a surge of energy. She knew that this was her calling to use her position to make a difference in the world. After the concert, Elton took her backstage and gave her a big hug. "You were amazing, Diana," he said. "You're natural at this stuff," Diana smiled. She felt like she had found a new purpose in life. She was no longer just a princess, but a voice for those who needed help, and she was ready to use that voice to change the world. Chapter 4. A Giving Heart. As Diana continued to carry out her duties as Princess of Wales, she also became known for her kindness and generosity. She loved to help people in need, and she found ways to use her position to make a difference. One day, she visited a hospital for sick children. She was moved by the bravery of the young patients and wanted to do something special for them. She decided to organize a big party with games, balloons, and lots of treats. Diana got to work, calling in favors and asking for donations. She spent hours planning the party, making sure that everything was just right. When the big day arrived, Diana arrived at the hospital in a colourful dress and a big smile on her face. The children were thrilled to see her, and they immediately gathered around her, eager to play the games and eat the treats. Diana spent the whole day at the hospital, laughing and playing with the children. She even sang a song with them and gave out hugs and high fives. As she left the hospital, Diana felt a sense of joy that she had never felt before. She knew that she had made a real difference in the lives of those children, and that was the best feeling in the world. From that day on, Diana made it a priority to help children in need. She visited schools and orphanages, and she even started her own charity called the Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fund. Through her charity work and her warm personality, Diana became a beloved figure around the world. People admired her for her beauty, her fashion sense, and her giving heart, and they knew that wherever she went, she would always make a difference. Chapter 5: Breaking Traditions. As Diana continued to carry out her royal duties, she began to realize that some of the traditions of the royal family didn't quite match her own values and beliefs. She wanted to do things her own way, even if it meant breaking some of the old rules. One day, Diana decided to wear a tuxedo to a formal event. This was a big departure from the traditional dresses that royal women usually wore, and some people were shocked. But Diana didn't care. She felt comfortable and confident in the tuxedo, and she thought it was a fun way to mix things up. As she walked into the event, all eyes were on her, but instead of feeling nervous, Diana felt empowered. She knew that she was breaking a tradition, but she also knew that she was making a statement. From that day on, Diana became known for her fashion choices. She wore bold prints, bright colours, and even ripped jeans. Some people criticized her for not dressing more conservatively, but Diana didn't let that stop her. She also started to speak out about social issues that were important to her. She visited homeless shelters and spoke out about the importance of helping those in need. She also visited countries affected by landmines and campaigned for their removal. Diana's willingness to break traditions and speak out about important issues made her a role model for many people around the world. They admired her for her courage and her dedication to making the world a better place. And even though she faced criticism and backlash from some people, Diana never wavered in her beliefs. She continued to speak out and break the rules, and in doing so, she became one of the most beloved and iconic figures of her time. Chapter 6: The People's Princess. As Diana's popularity continued to grow, she became known as the People's Princess. She had a way of connecting with people from all walks of life, and she used her position to make a real difference in the world. One day, Diana visited a hospital where she met a young boy who was suffering from a serious illness. The boy was shy and withdrawn, but Diana's warm smile and gentle manner soon put him at ease. As she talked to the boy and his family, Diana was struck by their courage and strength. She knew that she wanted to do something special for them, so she arranged for them to attend a private concert by one of their favorite musicians. The family was thrilled, and the young boy's face lit up with joy. He forgot about his illness for a few hours as he listened to the music and danced with his family. Diana was moved by the experience, and she knew that this was the kind of thing she wanted to do more of it. She started to use her position as a royal to advocate for those who were less fortunate and to raise awareness about important social issues. She visited homeless shelters. She worked with charities to help people with disabilities, and she spoke out about the need for more research into diseases like HIV/AIDS. Through her compassion and her dedication to making a difference, Diana became one of the most beloved figures of her time. People around the world looked up to her as a role model, and they admired her for her kindness, her courage, and her commitment to helping others. And even though her life was tragically cut short, Diana's legacy lives on. She inspired a generation of people to be kinder, more compassionate, and more dedicated to making the world a better place. Chapter 7. Remembering Diana.
Diana's sudden and tragic death shocked the world. People around the globe mourned the loss of the people's princess.
And they remembered her for her kindness, her compassion, and her dedication to making a difference. In the days and weeks following her death, tributes poured in from all over the world. People left flowers and notes outside the gates of Kensington Palace, where Diana had lived. They held candlelight vigils and prayed for her family and loved ones. Even though Diana was gone, her legacy lived on. The charities and organizations that she had worked with continued to carry out her vision, and people around the world were inspired by her example. As the years went by, Diana became even more beloved. People remembered her for her fashion sense, her love of children, and her unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. Her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, continued to honor their mother's legacy. They worked with charities and organizations that she had supported, and they spoke out about issues that were important to her. In 2011, William and Kate Middleton, now the Duchess of Cambridge, got married in a grand ceremony at Westminster Abbey. Even though Diana wasn't there to see it, her presence was felt throughout the day. William and Kate included a special tribute to Diana in their wedding ceremony, and they made sure that her legacy was part of the celebration. Today, Diana is remembered as a true icon. She inspired people around the world to be kinder, more compassionate, and more committed to making a difference. And even though she is gone, her legacy lives on, reminding us all of the power of one person to make a real difference in the world.